Hello, my name is Stilo. I do Taylor Swift and Swifty content from time to time. Here to do how Taylor Swift reclaimed her masters and changed the music industry forever. I have a lot to say on this, so I'll be interjecting my thoughts in between this beautifully articulated video by this content creator. And yeah, I'll let them be explaining the lore. If you're clicking on this, likely you are already familiar with the lore, so you can also comment down below what this moment means to you as a Taylor Swift fan and how it changed history. But this type of situation, the music industry may sure will never happen again. I even think there's been a Taylor Swift clause since she has been able to re-record everything and gain back her masters. I don't think anyone's going to be able to execute this rollout and getting back her IP, her intellectual property, in the same way that Taylor did. But you may disagree. I think it's going to be extremely hard. Just the sheer fact how much money the music industry has lost out of not having that type of ownership over her career and being able to license it and sync television, TV shows, movies, and really control her destiny and the output of how her music and her likeness is used going forward. So a huge win for Taylor. It was an L on the music industry, and I'm all for it. Who's all for corporate greed?
Imagine
I'm
spending
not.
15 years creating something beautiful with your own hands, your hard work, and one day you wake up to find out it now belongs to your bully. That's basically what happened to Taylor Swift with her own music. But she never gave up. Here's the full story of Taylor's masters and how
Scooter Braun does shady business. He lost a large majority of his clientele. I know he lost Bieber. I know he lost Ari. I think he lost Ari. I'm pretty sure he lost Ariana. He lost Demi. He lost the Kid Laroi. I don't know if he still manages him, but I know he lost him for a brief period because he signed. And what Scooter Braun does, and I think Justin Bieber had the same problem that Kid Laroi had, he would sign them and then allow someone else to oversee their career when they were promised that Scooter Braun would oversee. So he's shady in my book.
she took back control of her art. Back in 2004, a young Taylor Swift was playing in Nashville bars, trying to land a record deal.
When I was 11, I was like, Mom, we have to go to Nashville. That's where they all go. Went to Nashville with my mom, and she would park outside record labels, and I would run in and be like, hey, I'm Taylor. I'm 11. I want a record deal. Call me.
But surprise, country music was the men's club, and no one wanted to take a chance on a 14-year-old teenager.
At the time, right? I'm sure that the way that country has become more progressive and inclusive, she may have just been too early for that. I feel like a 14-year-old Taylor Swift going down this country path would dominate in this new era. But, you let me know in the comment box down below. Either way, she found her path and was able to impact the music industry like none other before her and maybe after her. But, sometimes it's all a matter of timing.
Writing songs about her feelings. Until one day at a bar called Bluebird Cafe, Scott Borchetta showed up, a guy who was building his own label, Big Machine Records. He was blown away by Taylor's songwriting skills. She signed with him in 2005 and released 6 albums under that contract. Taylor Swift, her debut album, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, and Reputation. Everything seemed perfect. But here's the thing, even though Taylor wrote all of her songs and owns the intellectual property, she didn't own her original recordings. Because in the music industry, masters, the original recording, usually belong to the label.
And it's only... See, here's a big fight about, and it's a huge topic of whether or not you should reclaim your masters or and it may be more profitable for you to allow the music industry to have your masters, depending on how recognizable your name is as a household name, how many records you have sold, and just evaluating the profitability and also the loss in terms of the financial loss you may be taking of retaining your masters. It may make more sense for them to generate future revenue, take the big advance, and allow them to boost your name up to become a household name, and then you work on trying to slowly get back your masters in a way that a rapper J. Cole did. I'm sure you're familiar with J. Cole, but you probably don't listen to J. Cole's music. If you're a Swiftie fan, you may or may not. I'm not going to judge you or speak for you, excuse me. But he made so much money for himself and the label and sold so many records that when it came down to a renegotiation period, they asked him, do you want a big advance or you want your masters back? He chose his masters. So in that way, they were a little bit more welcoming of having that conversation. For Taylor Swift, it's going to be a big fight because of the future earnings that her masters are going to generate. So of course they're going to play industry games with someone like Taylor Swift. But if you're asking for your masters early on and you haven't sold any records, you haven't made your imprint, it may not be in your favor to even ask for your masters. You know, it may not be worth anything. So it's a conversation to have if you are a music artist watching this, future A&R, future music manager in this case. There's always going to be a long debate, and it's going to be a case by case from artist to artist if retaining your masters or getting your masters back is even worth it. Some people completely sell their catalog, and it may be for a large sum of money, $100 million, this and that, $50 million. That may be the move for you. It may not be. It just depends.
Quick context. A master is the original recording of a song or album. The owner of the master has control over all copies, whether digital for download, streaming platforms, physical like CDs or vinyl, etc. If you don't own your masters, you don't fully control how your own music gets used, like in movies, ads, or even live performances.
Since they don't sell CDs anymore, it would be vinyls. A lot of vinyl shit, like a lot of things are, a lot of money is being spent on vinyls. I know that back in her day when she first signed, there was a CD like shipping in her contract to where they would take money out from her budget or from her against her royalties to recoup. It would go, part of that budget will go to shipping CDs. That's no longer a thing. So I think going forward, now if you want to hear something interesting, in my opinion, going forward, the music industry is always looking for new ways to double dip and, in my opinion, screw over the artists. You may look at it a different way. I don't know, you may be pro industry and just say that in exchange for making you a household name, I deserve this money for making you what you are, right? See, it's a conversation to be had. But I think that because of streaming, I think a lot of artists are going to be forced to stream and forced to be a content creator, forced to be a part-time streamer in order to reach a new demographic and sell records in a different way. Because a lot of artists don't like promoting music. So that may be something that they're forced to do going forward in order to make a profit. But you'll see over time how the industry responds to the audience and how it responds to the times. And I think Taylor Swift is a very interesting case study because she did a lot of things and had so much success and is doing things in a way that the music industry is going to have to adapt to. And she's blazing a trail. And I think maybe people will follow in her footsteps. Let's see if maybe Olivia Rodrigo or Sabrina Carpenter, things of that nature, if they aren't completely taken out by competition, because I know they got a little, pop is very competitive with the girlies. So I hope that it could be passed forward and a lot more artists can retain their masters, retain their ownership, and really lead this game profiting at a profit and not losing everything.
So, long before her contract ended in 2018, Taylor tried to buy her masters, but Big Machine Records had a different idea. If she wanted to own her music, she'd have to record a new album for every old one she wanted to get back. Taylor said, "For years I asked, pleaded for a chance to own my work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one album back at a time, one for every new one I turned in. For example, if she wanted to reclaim her debut album, she'd have to give them another new album first, basically trading Lover for debut. But Taylor didn't see this as a fair deal."
It's not a fair deal.
Cole, he's my miracle child. So how does your...
All right.
Her music means too much to her, and she wasn't about to churn out soulless albums just to reclaim the first 6, so she said no. When the story went public, Scott Borchetta tried to spin it, saying the deal would have given Taylor control of her masters as soon as she signed a new contract with them, and in return, she'd stay with Big Machine for a few more years. But Taylor already knew Scott planned to sell the label, which made her...
Ooh. He sold it to Hype, right? For 500 or something. How did you, if anybody knows this information, right? Comment down below. How did she have insight into Scooter Braun? How did she know that Scooter Braun was going to sell the label? Or Scott, excuse me, Scott Borchetta or Scooter. How did she know that leverage point of that was going to happen? You let me know.
Future very uncertain. So, she chose to sign with Republic Records instead, where she now owns 100% of her new music. Like Lover, Folklore, Evermore, Midnights, and the Tortured Poets Department. Taylor didn't mind that Borchetta was selling the company. She thought maybe she could strike a deal with the new owners later on. The real problem began when Scott Borchetta sold Big Machine Records and Taylor's masters to Ithaca Holdings, a company owned by Scooter Braun in 2019. You might recognize his name. He's the manager behind artists like Kanye West and Justin Bieber. He's
Previously, that they've all pretty much left him.
Also someone Taylor had had issues with for years. On June 30th, 2019, Taylor posted a public letter explaining everything. She said she was denied the chance to buy her albums and that her life's work now belonged to her bully. A little backstory. Taylor and Scooter Braun were actually friends for a while. Yeah, weird, I know. But that friendship didn't last long. Scooter had been involved in multiple controversies targeting Taylor.
Get your slimy self away from her. You had no part in her success is hilarious.
Been involved in multiple controversies targeting Taylor. For example, in 2016, Kanye West called Taylor a bitch in a song and released a video featuring a wax figure of Taylor, naked. Taylor later referred to it in her letter as an organized revenge music video which strips my body naked. Then Kim Kardashian leaked an edited phone call to make Taylor look like a liar. They recorded Taylor without her consent illegally and edited the call to make.
Where is this video of Kanye telling me he was going to call me that in his song? It doesn't exist because it never happened. You don't get to control someone's emotional response to being called that in front of the entire world, which is true. Of course, I wanted to like the song. I wanted to believe Kanye when he told me that I would love the song. I wanted us to have a friendly relationship. He promised to play the song for me, but he never did. While I wanted to be supportive of Kanye on that phone call, you cannot approve a song you haven't heard. True. Being falsely painted as a liar when I was never given the full story or played any part of the song is character assassination. I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative, one that I have never asked to be a part of since 2009. Fair.
Make it seem like she agreed to the lyrics. In 2020, the full call was leaked, proving Taylor had told the truth. She never approved the song, because Kanye never played the full version.
A little bit, so can you brace yourself for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Wait a second, you sound sad.
Well, is it gonna be mean?
No, I don't think it's me.
He just wanted Taylor to promote it on her social media accounts.
So my next single, I wanted you to tweet it. It's a Good Friday, so dropping as a Good Friday song. So that's why I'm calling you, that I wanted you to put the song out.
That was disingenuous of Kanye, for sure. And I'm sure if it was a favorable song with Taylor, she would have no problem promoting the record. I'm just speaking to I can't speak for Taylor, but I'm just saying if I didn't have the best history with someone like Kanye, but I think that it would be mutually beneficial for us to have a friendly friendship going forward. Not even a friendship, just a friendly acquaintanceship-ish, right? It could be beneficial for my brand and your, maybe not. Maybe you're like, well, what does Kanye have to benefit Taylor? Maybe not, right? But at the very least, it rests your soul knowing that I don't have an enemy that has such a large voice in popular culture. At the very least, you know, like, okay, we say cool things, but like, you just open the door, you open the floodgates when, you know, it can start to snowball. This relationship goes from non-cordial to contentious to hostile to slanderous. Now we in court. You know, no, who wants that?
After the full video came out, Kim Kardashian basically acted like it never existed. Meanwhile,
For Taylor, she may not care. I got long money. Try to character assassinate me. Yeah, them lawyers is on your ass. Maybe. I don't know. You let me know in the comment box down below. You know what I mean? Taylor got long money.
While Justin Bieber, another of Scooter's clients, posted a photo mocking Taylor. The caption read, "Taylor Swift, what up?" Taylor said Scooter was actively trying to intimidate her after Kardashian leaked the video, and now that same man owned her music. To make things worse, the first thing Scooter did when
Woo! 300. I thought it was 5, but still. Whew.
news of the sale broke was repost a friend's story that said, "Scooter Braun bought Taylor Swift." Taylor says Scott Borchetta had known about her issues with Scooter Braun for years, saying that the man who gave her her first record deal knew exactly what he was doing. She wrote in her letter, "Some fun facts about today's news. I learned about Scooter Braun's purchase of my masters as it was announced to the
Oh, she didn't have an insight. I thought she had an insight. She found out with the rest of us. That's cold-blooded.
world. All I could think about was the incessant, manipulative bullying I've received at his hands for years."
When it was online, like when it hit the news.
Nobody in your inner circle
Nobody knew.
You didn't smell it.
No. I knew he would sell my music. I knew he would do that. I couldn't believe who he sold it to. Because we
Okay, so she knew he was gonna sell it. She didn't know that. Okay, all right. I'm following.
had endless conversations about Scooter Braun. And he has 300 million reasons to conveniently forget those conversations.
But the drama didn't end there. In 2019, Taylor also revealed that when she was about to receive the Artist of the Decade award at the AMAs, Scooter Braun and Scott Borchetta tried to stop her from performing her own songs. Taylor said that they told her she couldn't use her old music on TV because it would count as an unauthorized re-recording. They also tried to block her from using her music in her Netflix documentary, unless she agreed to stay silent about the situation and promised not to re-record her albums. In the end, after Taylor went public and fans backed her up, a deal was made and she was able to perform a medley of her hits, wearing a symbolic outfit that nodded to her past eras. Camila Cabello shared that for this performance, Taylor even had a plan B. Her friends were ready to sing her songs for her.
On what that performance was going to be. Was there a backup plan in case she wasn't able to perform her hits?
Taylor announced she would re-record her first 6 albums to regain control, as soon as her contract with Big Machine allowed her to do so.
Now, could you re-record?
Oh yeah.
Might you do
She said, "You could bet your bottom dollar I will." You could bet your sweet tushy I am.
that?
Oh yeah.
That's a plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which meant waiting 5 years after each original release, so that fans would buy and stream those instead of the original versions.
If I made them the first time, I can make them again.
She kept the quality of
And a lot of them, she re-delivered it with because her voice has matured. She's matured as a vocalist and as a performer. A lot of them, I prefer the re-recordings to the original. Some for nostalgia purposes and just like how the record was delivered. You can never record exactly how you recorded, especially with so much time removed and you've matured. But I agree with her. Like any artist would feel like, I made those songs, I can make them again. Just a little different texture on the voice. But I've definitely ran across some people and some fans that prefer the re-recording some songs to the original. But you let me know.
the songs, but also added new tracks called From the Vault songs.
I've dug up these songs that I wrote along the way that didn't make the album because I thought I want to save this for the next album.
Not only was she reclaiming her work, but she was adding value by giving fans new material from those eras.
Then the next album would just be a completely different thing. And it turns out it's an opportunity for me to go back and re-record all the music that was on the original album.
So, in a way, we were winning too. You might wonder, why doesn't Scooter Braun just sell the masters back to Taylor? Scooter has said he tried negotiating with Taylor, but according to her, these negotiations came with strings attached, designed to silence her forever. Just to even start conversations with Scooter, Taylor would first have to sign a very strict NDA, without having much information about what was actually being offered. So Taylor saw no benefit in signing something that could harm her later. Also, Scooter had no intention of giving up 100% of her masters. Even if they reached a deal, he'd still earn royalties off her work either way.
So not only am I not getting 100%, you're silencing me, which a part of my large audience and fan base is what got us here in the first place. Because if nobody if she didn't have such a large voice in the culture, didn't have such an adored fan base, this conversation of masters and re-recording, it probably wouldn't have gotten this far, right? So I can't talk about it, and you're not get like, yeah, I understand why she's like, no, it's not favorable at all.
Scooter's now ex-wife, Yael Braun, claimed on Instagram that
Damn, even Scooter, all of Scooter Braun's talent and his wife left him. He might really be a wing ding. I don't know. Your wife left you, your talent left you. You might be a ball bag. I ain't gonna lie.
Taylor missed her chance, and that Taylor's dad, Scott Swift, was a shareholder in Big Machine. According to Rolling Stone, there was a call on June 25th about the Big Machine sale. Since Scott Swift was a
she got the insight from her dad. I forgot he was a shareholder. What a connect.
Shareholder, people assumed he was on that call. But AT Magazine reported that Scott Swift refused to sign a strict NDA that would have required him to withhold crucial info from his daughter. When Taylor made all of this public in 2019, many artists were divided. Some supported Taylor, and others sided with Scooter. And of course, a few jumped in uninvited. In 2020, Scooter Braun sold
Demi Lovato jumped into the conversation just to leave him after. You can't make this up.
Taylor's masters to Shamrock Holdings, and again, without telling her. And when Taylor thought she could reach an agreement with this new company, she found out that any deal would still benefit Scooter, since he didn't give up full rights to her music. Taylor posted a message to fans explaining everything, because transparency matters. Now in 2025, specifically on May 30th, Taylor Swift finally owns her masters. All her albums, the masters, the recordings.
Now imagine if someone with the pantheon of music, streams, sales, accolades, awards, adoration had to go through this amount of a fight to retain ownership, 100% ownership. This will never be done. That's why I go back to the beginning of the video. This will never be done again. Never. The next person that could maybe do this is Drake, but where he's at right now with Universal, I don't see it. I think this is a one time only. She's going to go down in history as probably the only one to get her masters back in this type of fashion. This is like a Prince Michael Jackson-esque move. Maybe Beyonce could do this. I think Beyonce could do it. I don't know if Beyonce would want to, because I think she benefits from renegotiating her advance. And she's like, what am I going to do? I don't really need my masters right now. I can just renegotiate. But, you know, her husband's Jay-Z, and he's a strong believer in ownership 100%. When it makes sense, of course. So, you know, who knows? But someone like Beyonce, that's it. This will never be done again.
The videos, the memories, the magic, the madness, everything. Taylor announced on social media that she bought her masters from Shamrock Capital, sharing the news with a letter on her website. She thanks Shamrock Capital for being the first people to offer her the opportunity to buy her masters. Billboard reports that Taylor bought back her original masters for $360 million.
They probably, like, Shamrock was like, we had no business having your masters in the first place. It was just a good deal. So, I mean, you know, we already made some money off the sale. Yeah, let's double dip. But we weren't supposed to have your masters, no way. Yeah, we could do a deal. With Scooter Braun, I think that's just pettiness and spite. Like, yeah, we could do the deal, but like, listen, like, I'm gonna make you pay for it. That's just the type of person and character that Scooter Braun is. But Shamrock, they probably have some noble and some decent working people over there, some decent human beings, and we're like, yeah, we could do the sale. You got the money?
And
cool, let's do the sale.
According to People magazine, Scooter Braun had no involvement in Taylor's deal to buy back her masters, despite recent reports. Contrary to a previous false report, there was no outside party who encouraged this sale. All rightful credit for this opportunity should go to the partners at Shamrock Capital and Taylor's Nashville-based management team only. Taylor now owns all of her music, and this moment finally happened in spite of Scooter Braun, not because of him. Taylor still had 2 re-recordings left, Reputation and her debut album. About Reputation, she opened up and admitted that she didn't even have a quarter of it ready because it's such a specific album tied to a particular moment in her life. She'd basically been putting it off. She said, "The Reputation album was so specific to that time in my life, and I kept hitting a stopping point when I tried to remake it. She also added, "To be perfectly honest, it's the one album in the first 6 that I thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it." But she promised that if we wanted, she could give us the Volt tracks, which, of course we do, Taylor. As for her debut album, she said, "I've already completely re-recorded my entire debut album, and I really love how it sounds now." So we could still get debut, Taylor's version, after all, since she said both albums will have their moment to shine when the time is right, and that it'll come from a place of celebration, not sadness. Now, Swifties can listen to any version of Taylor's albums because, finally, they all belong to her. In fact, right after Taylor's announcement, we celebrated by streaming her music, and her albums climbed back to the
Which is a full circle, because if you remember, she wanted her music pulled from streaming services altogether like a few years back, maybe like 5 years. I don't know the exact date. You can let me know in the comment box down below. But she was like, you guys are giving me a fraction of what I'm worth, like such a small fraction. It's not worth it. Like the splits are not favorable. You're killing us artists. And she was like, pull my music immediately. And then she forced Spotify's hand to increase the royalty payout a little bit. It was the Spotify payout is garbage, but it was even more garbage before Taylor Swift spoke out. So now to come full circle, she's like, yes, I have my ownership, my masters and everything like that. Stream my music now, which I get.
top of the iTunes charts. I honestly have no words to express what this journey with Taylor has meant, from that very first post where she shared her story, all the way to this letter. Some people online.
It's completely full circle. I'm gonna say this last thought, and then you can go. If you probably haven't seen this video, I don't want to watch it, like all of it, and just completely jack their video. But I'll leave the link to the original video in the comment box down below if you made it this far. And my last thoughts is she's gonna get married and probably ride off into the sunset. Probably drop an album every now and then. I can't see her being as yearly as she has been. Maybe I could be wrong. Life of a Showgirl did like 3 million records in the first week. So maybe she may come out yearly. It's like, these people love me. I'm putting out music that everybody can love. You know, I know some people on TikTok had different opinions about the album. They didn't like it. Some people did love it. You know, there's some drama around it. So she's selling records. She's still part of the conversation. Not even just part of the conversation. She's dominating the conversation. Why would I leave when I'm still arguably on top? I don't know. I just thought that maybe touring and recording can be a rigorous effort that takes a lot of time away from your family. So I just thought that maybe she would spend more time with her family, slow down the workload. I could be wrong, but you let me know in the comment box down below. I will do I used to do Taylor Swift videos back in the day, so I don't know if any people that watched me way back still watching this, but if you are, when I get some downtime, I am going to do the Eras tour. I did Reputation tour a while back, and I said I'm going to do the Eras tour eventually, and I still will, but, you know, school and my job, it be you know how I get, so I'll get that to you eventually. You may come back one day and be like, I wonder if he has the Eras tour on this channel, and it may be there, so it's still coming. If you're a first-time watcher with me, I have the Swifties playlist on my channel. Just go through that. And yeah, until next time, hope you're well. Hope you're having a good, wonderful day, morning, evening, whenever you're